In 52 BC, the Roman Republic teetered on the edge of both triumph and turmoil. Far away from the intrigues of the Senate, a ruthless and brilliant general, Gaius Julius Caesar, was locked in a desperate struggle to finish his conquest of Gaul. For 6 years, Caesar's legions had marched through forests, rivers, and hostile tribes, steadily extending Rome's shadow over what is now France and Belgium. Yet Gaul was far from subdued. A charismatic young chieftain named Vercingetorix, born of the powerful Arverni tribe, had risen to unite scattered Gallic tribes into one last audacious rebellion. He promised his people freedom from Roman domination, and led them in a fiery campaign that nearly derailed Caesar's dreams of glory and power. The struggle between Caesar and Vercingetorix would culminate in one of the most extraordinary sieges in military history, the Battle of Alesia. It was a clash not only of armies but of strategy, endurance, and political ambition, one that would change the fate of Gaul and propel Caesar toward dictatorship. Caesar's Gaulish campaign and a rebellion ignited. Caesar entered Gaul in 58 BC, officially to defend Rome's allies against Germanic incursions. In truth, he sought wealth, fame, and political leverage against rivals in Rome. Over the next years, his seasoned legions crushed tribe after tribe, building bridges across mighty rivers, subduing fortresses, and forging alliances by fear or diplomacy. But his brutal tactics, burned villages, enslaved populations, heavy tribute, bred resentment. By 52 BC, that resentment exploded into open revolt under Vercingetorix. Young, bold, and skilled in both politics and war, Vercingetorix rallied tribes with a promise: drive the Romans out or die trying. He used scorched earth tactics, burning his own villages to starve Caesar's troops of supplies and ambushing Roman columns in the dense Gallic terrain. For months, the campaign swung back and forth. Caesar's forces won some brutal encounters. Vercingetorix scored others, like the bloody fight at Gergovia, where Roman legions suffered rare humiliation. But Caesar, master of resilience, always found a way to recover. Retreat to Alesia. By late summer, Vercingetorix chose to make a stand. He withdrew his army, around 80,000 warriors, into Alesia, a fortified town perched high on a hill, ringed by steep slopes and natural valleys. Thousands of civilians followed, seeking refuge. Caesar pursued with about 60,000 soldiers, including his elite Roman legionaries and fierce Germanic cavalry. Upon arrival, he assessed the challenge. Alesia's defenses were formidable. Its elevation and stone walls made a direct assault suicidal. Yet Caesar's supplies were limited, and delay could bring disaster. Roman enemies in the Senate were eager to recall him from Gaul. A prolonged stalemate could ruin his reputation and career. So, Caesar turned to the skill that made him legendary: engineering genius. A fortress around a fortress. Rather than storm Alesia, Caesar decided to trap the Gallic army inside. His legions built an extraordinary network of fortifications, a circumvallation, an inner ring of walls, ditches, towers, and traps facing the town to prevent escape, and a contravallation, an outer ring facing outward to block any relief force. For 3 relentless weeks, Roman soldiers labored day and night. They dug trenches filled with water, erected wooden palisades, planted deadly stakes, and set snares. By the end, Alesia was surrounded by nearly 24 miles of continuous defenses, a masterpiece of military engineering that stunned ancient observers. Inside the town, Vercingetorix watched in alarm as the noose tightened. But he didn't despair. He still held a massive army and had already summoned allies to send reinforcements. Hunger, hope, and a grim choice. The Gallic chieftain soon faced a grim reality: too many mouths to feed. His army and the thousands of civilians trapped with them quickly strained Alesia's food stores. Desperate to save supplies for his warriors, Vercingetorix made a wrenching decision. He ordered the women and children of the local Mandabii tribe to leave the city and seek mercy from Caesar's lines. Caesar, however, showed no pity. He refused passage and did not provide food. The refugees, trapped between Roman walls and their own city gates, slowly starved, visible to both armies. It was psychological warfare at its cruelest, designed to break Gallic morale. Still, Vercingetorix held firm, assuring his men that help was on the way. The Gallic relief force arrives. By late September, the long-awaited relief army finally appeared on the horizon. Led by Commius of the Atrebates and Vercingetorix, Vercingetorix's cousin, this force was immense. Ancient sources speak of over 100,000 warriors from many tribes, all determined to smash the Roman blockade. The sight electrified the besieged Gauls and filled Caesar's camp with tension. The Romans were outnumbered, defending two lines of fortifications at once, one against those inside Alesia, one against the new threat outside. The Gallic leaders wasted no time. They launched a fierce assault on Caesar's outer defenses, hoping to break through and link up with Vercingetorix's army. Inside, the trapped Gauls simultaneously stormed the inner walls. For a moment, it seemed the Romans might be overwhelmed. The decisive clash. The battle was a brutal test of nerves. Gallic warriors stormed the Roman walls but met javelins, sword-wielding legionaries, and hidden traps. At times they breached the outer defenses, threatening to overwhelm the Romans. Then Vercingetorix, leading 60,000 men, charged a weak point near a river valley. Caesar responded boldly, ordering Labienus to hold the gap with cavalry, while he personally led 6,000 elite troops. His sudden arrival inspired the Romans. Pinned by Labienus in front and struck by Caesar from behind, the Gauls panicked and broke. The Roman cavalry cut them down as they fled, shattering the relief army and sealing the Gallic defeat. Surrender and aftermath. Inside Alesia, hope evaporated. Vercingetorix realized no help would come. Proud but pragmatic, he chose to surrender with dignity. Dressed in full armor, he mounted his horse and rode out to Caesar's camp. There, surrounded by Roman soldiers, he dismounted and laid his weapons at Caesar's feet. Caesar accepted the surrender coldly. The battle was over. The Gallic rebellion had been crushed and Rome's dominance over Gaul was secured. The victory came at a cost. Caesar reportedly lost around 12,000 men killed or wounded. The Gallic toll was catastrophic, and the ancient sources claim 250,000 dead or wounded and another 40,000 captured. Most captives were spared or enslaved, but Vercingetorix himself was kept alive as a symbol of Caesar's triumph. He would languish in a Roman prison for 6 years before being paraded through Rome in Caesar's grand triumphal procession in 46 BC, and then executed by strangulation. The larger legacy of Alesia. The siege of Alesia was more than just a military victory. It cemented Caesar's reputation as one of history's greatest commanders, a master of logistics, fortification, and psychological warfare. The double wall strategy remains a textbook case of siegecraft brilliance. But it also marked a turning point. Caesar's success made him immensely popular with soldiers and the Roman public, yet it also terrified his political enemies. Senators in Rome feared his rising power and ambition. Within a few years, those tensions would explode into civil war, eventually ending the Roman Republic itself. For the Gauls, Alesia was both tragedy and legend. Though defeated, Vercingetorix became a symbol of resistance and national pride. Centuries later, French leaders, from Napoleon III to modern republics, would celebrate him as a hero who fought for freedom against foreign conquest. Why Alesia still fascinates. The drama of Alesia endures because it combines every element of a great story: brilliant strategy, desperate courage, personal ambition, and the clash of cultures. Caesar's ability to innovate under pressure, building an entire fortress to trap an enemy fortress, still astonishes historians and military planners. Vercingetorix's doomed stand inspires admiration for its bravery and unity in the face of overwhelming odds. The battle also reminds us of the human cost of conquest. The starving civilians, the slaughter of warriors, and the political machinations behind the scenes reveal the darker side of ancient glory. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the dramatic siege of Alesia and the clash between Julius Caesar and Vercingetorix, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Tell us in the comments what surprised you most about the Battle of Alesia. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.